All right, I'm the assistant to the regional manager. What show is that from? Okay, so I did another video that just went in really quickly into the tools that I've come across in my experience doing home improvement projects over the many, many years that do about 90% of the projects. And again, I said in my last video, they will all fit in a normal size box, which I eventually with my daughter called my toolbox, because she would say, Dad, go grab your toolbox. So I just want to go into a little bit more detail on each one that I went in just kind of quickly before. So again, these are the must-haves, and these are the nice-to-haves at some point. And I've said before, if you're doing serious plumbing work, serious electrical work, serious HVAC work, you're doing different things, of course you're going to need different tools. I'm saying the things that I've come across, that I've done, 90% of the things that I do around the house, I can do with these tools. So I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail now. So, I mean, you know, this is a 2-foot, two-step step ladder. I mean, if you're going to change light bulbs, if you're going to change a ceiling fan, you're going to do any kind of painting, drywall patching, anything. I mean, you're going to have a 2-foot step ladder. So 2-step, 2-foot, whatever you want to call it, and you can get these anywhere. The next thing is a 16-ounce claw hammer. And that's just, I'm going to say a normal hammer. If I say just go buy a hammer at the store, there's a million. I mean, literally, there are a million hammers you can buy. So you can buy the little 8-ounce ones that you see, the little miniature hammers. You can buy a 22-ounce framing hammer. You can buy a sledgehammer. This is what I'm going to call a normal hammer, a 16-ounce claw hammer. The claw that takes nails out, and of course the hammer for hammering. You can get different types. You see these two? Notice this one is super thin. It's got a lot more power behind it. This one's thicker. Doesn't matter. This is 10 bucks. This is 25 bucks. So, and Lowe's and Home Depot both sell, like this is Home Depot's brand HDX. They have Husky also. Lowe's has Cobalt. They have lifetime warranties. You never need a receipt because they know if it's a Home Depot brand, you could only have bought it there. So you can get those hammers anywhere, return them as long as you own them. The second one is a tape measure. You can use any kind of tape measure. The most important thing is a 1-inch wide blade. You can get them, I'm going to say minimum of 16 feet, pretty much 16, 20, or 25 feet. That's probably what you're going to want to buy, but just with a 1-inch blade. Otherwise, you can buy them anywhere. And I'll have links to every one of these tools. The next one is a cordless screwdriver. These basically is a, I mean, in effect, it's a screwdriver, but you don't have to use your hand to do it. No power, you're not going to drill a hole with these, but it takes tons of time off of you if you're putting in a light switch or something where you've got those 3-inch long screws and they're just going into the little threaded hole. So I think a cordless screwdriver is extremely handy and I would say necessary. I'll just go up since I'm here with a cordless drill. This is just one I've had for many, many years. A Bosch, a little bit more money, but you can get, doesn't matter the brand, but you can get them for 40 or 50 bucks, an entry-level cordless drill. You can spend 200 bucks if you want on a cordless drill, but this has 10 times more power than a cordless screwdriver. So if you're gonna drill a hole, you're gonna need a cordless drill. So you're gonna need both of those, a cordless drill and a cordless screwdriver. Okay, and then just a basic pencil. And you can also buy you can buy a thick, this has a brand on it, but you can buy actual carpenter's pencil. This is a regular pencil. This is a little bit thicker type of carpenter pencil. Then you can buy really thick square carpenter pencils, but just a nice thick pencil for marking. Then you'll need a Allen wrench set or hex wrench set. You just make sure you get a standard and a metric set. You can also get a set that comes all in one piece. You know, again, that'll be separate metric and standard. Maybe not quite as versatile because they're connected, so it's going to limit where you can get to with everything connected, but it's also really handy. You'll also need some sort of a knife, jip knife, retractable knife, utility knife. I think most people call it a utility knife. Just a couple of examples, but again, I'll have links for all of these. What's nice about most of them now is there's a removable section here with blades. So You just pop out the blade with these newer ones, and then pop this down. You have replacement blades, put them right in. Otherwise, the old ones, one of my old ones here, you have to unscrew them, take the thing apart, find a blade, put it in, and it can be a lot more difficult. Next thing, shocking how many times I use, I'm going to call them 1¼ drywall screws, but they're number 6 by 1¼ drywall screws with a coarse thread. If you're hanging anything, it's shocking how many times you will use that. Tip, make sure you drill it down at an angle. A lot of people put it in straight or even a little bit the wrong way. So when you hang a picture, gravity's pulling that thing down. So 1¼ drywall screws, coarse thread. Again, I'll have links to all of these. A stud finder is extremely important to have. These are 2 different ones. I don't know if you know this, but stud finders don't find the stud, they find nails that are in the stud from the drywall people. So all you're doing is fanning the stud finder down the stud until it finds a nail. So once it does, then you know that's where the stud is. It can go up and down. And let me check. Yep, it's working. A drill bit set. You can have a very detailed drill bit set. This is I don't know, I think it's a 15-piece drill bit set. I've got another couple of them that have, I don't know how many, a lot more, but these are the standard sizes. So this is really all you need, a 15-piece, 11-piece drill bit set. Again, shocking how many times I have used little bitty slotted screwdriver and standard screwdriver. I just did something on a car this morning with a trunk support and used the mini slotted screwdriver. And these are like 3-inch blades, but they're very small. As a comparison, these are just normal size screwdrivers, also necessary, slotted of course, and Phillips head. Again, shocking how many times I have needed a roll of electrical tape and a roll of duct tape. Just different reasons. I'm going to put in a ceiling fan, I know, pretty soon. Another one in the house, swapping it out. And there's just tons of times when you're going to need either electrical tape or duct tape. Crescent wrench. That is a brand, so I think they're adjustable wrenches is what they're called. Just various sizes. I think this is a 10-inch, 8-inch, 6-inch. So you can have probably the medium one probably be enough, but there's times when, again, you're gonna need to fit it into a certain space. You're gonna need some torque with a 10-inch sometimes, but you're gonna need you have a limited space under a sink or in someplace weird, and you're gonna need a little 6-inch crescent wrench or adjustable wrench. So nice to have those. You're definitely gonna need needle nose pliers, long nose pliers very, very often. And then just a regular set of pliers. And you know, there's slip joint pliers. I'm sure you know this, but that's the narrow. And then if you use the slip joint, now it just makes it much wider. So slip joint pliers, regular, I'm gonna call them regular pliers, and needle nose or long nose pliers. And then vice grips. I think I have 4 of these. These are the 2 medium sizes. I have a little miniature one. I have a huge one. But just a couple of sizes of vice grips. That's a brand again. I think they're called locking pliers. That's the generic term. We don't say Band-Aid, they're adhesive bandages. So again, I've used miniature vice grips. I just used it a couple of weeks ago for some really close quarters that I needed to get in with a little set of vice grips. Monkey hooks, that's a brand, but I'm sure there's other brands for hanging pictures. It's shocking again how many times you can use these, and you only have to push it in, make one hole. They're very small, and you don't need a drill, you don't need a hammer. You just twist it in, and then there's a hook that ends up coming out, and you put the picture on that hook. It works awesome. So those are the must-haves. That's it. Those are it. And then we'll go to the nice-to-haves. Okay, so we went over all the must-haves. And now we're going to go over the nice to haves. It would be good at some point to have with the help of my lovely assistant.
Okay. All right, what's this?
So the first one is a pry bar. So if you're going to do any kind of framing in the house, you're trying to tear apart any type of wood material for any reason, the pry bar is super handy. This is a small one. You can get very, very large pry bars, but this is just one that I use pretty frequently around the house.
All right.
Number dos. So this is a carpenter's square. So this is just, I put in a shelf a couple weeks ago. And so you don't have to measure twice to make sure your line is straight. You can just use the carpenter's square, and it automatically has a 90-degree measurement. So you can automatically draw perfectly square lines. So something, again, you might not use it all the time, but it'd be nice to have.
This isn't a tool, so what would you use that for?
Not a tool. These are 3-inch screws. So these are 3-inch construction screws. You can get 3-inch deck screws. These are, say you've got a door that is leaning a little bit. You can take out one of the hinge screws at the top in the closest to the jamb, and you can put a 3-inch screw in to try to suck that jamb, suck the hinge into the jamb a little bit more and give a little bit of space. Obviously, if you're using decking or if you're trying to hit a stud, you can use these for a lot of different reasons. Hanging something super heavy. So just a 3-inch screw. Again, the 1 1/4-inch screw you're going to use all the time, but 3-inch screws you may use at some point too.
Okay.
What's next, ma'am?
Let's see. There's 2 of the same kind of thing.
2 of these. So levels. You can use these all the time. Again, put in a shelf in a closet a couple weeks ago. So a level is super nice. This is a 2-foot level. This is a 9-inch torpedo level. So it just depends on the application. I also have a 4-foot level, but I find myself not using that one as much. And a 2-foot level does most of what a 48-inch level does. So 2-foot level and a 9-inch torpedo level.
Here's a pointy thing.
A pointy thing. This is a nail punch or a nail set. If you've ever put in, you've hammered something in a nice finished piece of wood and you're really scared to use a hammer to finish pounding that nail into a nice finished piece of wood, that's all you do is use the nail set and you just push the nail down into the wood using the nail set. I'll have links to all of these. Usually they come in a set of 3 that are slightly different sizes, but super handy.
Here you go.
Another pointy thing. So this is a wood chisel. Usually these come in sets of 3 also. I think this is a 3/4-inch wood chisel, but if you're ever doing anything with wood, you've got a door jamb situation where you need to take 1/8 of an inch depth out of a door jamb. We were just hanging pictures, and we were using a staple gun to staple the cable onto the back of the picture to hang it, and it wasn't quite going in properly, and a nail set isn't going to work. So, but wood chisels are very strong. So I just put this on the staple and gave it a quick tap and pushed the staple in the rest of the way so it was holding the cable. So also very handy. More pointy things. I saw that.
Sharp.
Saw that. So this is just a basic handsaw. Super handy. You could, maybe there's a branch that's just a little bit thicker than a pruning shear will cut or a hedge clipper, or you're just cutting a 2x4 and you don't want to take out a chop saw if you have an electric saw. You just want to use a handsaw. So multiple different things for it. This is just like I think it's even called like a multi-use or multi-purpose saw. So really, really handy. Second to the last, an extension cord, 25-foot extension cord. They also make them with 3 outlet ends, but it really isn't necessary unless you're really doing some heavy duty stuff. You can buy 6-foot, 15-foot, 25, 50, 100-foot. I find I use the 25-foot more than anything. Plus, you're not going to probably trip your circuit as much with a 25-footer. My only call out is I would buy either 14 gauge or 12 gauge. Don't get 16, it's too thin of wire. So 14 gauge or 12 gauge 25-foot extension cord. And the last thing,
Right here.
great job, Kathleen, is a 6-foot step ladder. You can buy an 8-foot step ladder, but to me they're more cumbersome. They're way more difficult to put in a garage. They're tougher to get through a doorway. You can, of course, and if you have vaulted ceilings or if you have a need for an 8-foot step ladder, you should get one. But for 90% of the things I've done around the house, a 6-foot step ladder does it. So you've got the must-haves over here, and you've got the nice-to-haves over here, and I will have a link for every single one of these. And the nice thing about it is, did I say they would fit in my toolbox? I'm not going to do duplicates. Hammer, tape measure, cordless drill, Allen wrench set, utility knife, inch and a quarter drywall screws, stud finder, drill bit set, pencil, my favorite mini screwdrivers, my regular screwdrivers. I'll throw all 3 crescent wrenches in, my monkey hooks, needle nose and pliers, both vice grips, electrical tape, duct tape, and my favorite Bosch. All fits easily in my toolbox, and this will do 90% of anything you want to do around the house. Thank you to my lovely assistant for helping, and to my fabulous daughter for filming. Thank you very much. From the assistant to the regional manager. Have fun.